Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello race fans and welcome to Apex Racing TV and round 14 of the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship. My name is Peter Mackay and joining me in the commentary box tonight is Sam Fitzpatrick with our producer Sumili Kumo bringing you these beautiful SDK Gaming graphics and images of Long Beach, a relatively new addition to the iRacing service, but a very nice one indeed. Sam, touring cars at street circuits, this is bound to be very uneventful, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've got a couple of street circuits to round out the season. Of course, we've got this week, and then we've got Le Mans, and then we've got Montreal to round out the season. So that'll be a good season finale. But here at Long Beach, it's the proper street circuit, isn't it? And only the second time that ARLTC has gone to a street circuit. We visited Belle Isle a couple of seasons ago, which went surprisingly well as far as I can recall. So hopefully the driving standards are just as high tonight. We've got about 27 cars around this place, and these guys have been around this season for a long time. This is the 14th meeting of the championship, and so I think if anyone's going to keep it clean, it's going to be these drivers.
Indeed it will be. We are at round 14 of the season, so 3 to go including this one, and here are your championship standings. At the moment, Kieran Harrison with a very convincing lead indeed over George Simmons, particularly in the second half of the season. Kieran Harrison has really driven his advantage home, and he really has been immaculate throughout the season and has been rewarded with a handsome advantage at the front. Marcel T, the winner of the 24 Hours of Nürburgring here on iRacing in the TCR category, he sits in third, just 2 points ahead of Corentin Guinez, the SRW TCR champion, with Wojciech Sawidowicz, the old stalwart, in 5th position. The AM class, Sam, a little bit closer. It's not done yet. Mark Woodhouse and Ben Gregory still locked in a championship tussle there.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a confusing one the last couple of meetings because Gregory's kind of been able to take back the momentum. Woodhouse went on a run of probably about 5 consecutive meetings of outscoring Gregory, and Gregory's a couple of times now outscored Woodhouse in race 1, only for things to go disastrously wrong in race 2, and so hasn't been able to take much of that gap out. But these final 3 meetings of the season cannot be dropped. So the first 14, 2 of them can be dropped. I think those 2 job scores are applying, at least they should be applying. And but these last 3 cannot be dropped. So if you get a 0 finish, for example, you'll get 0 points because there's no fast repairs in this series. And your rival, even in the amateur category, it's a bit of a mess, isn't it? It's going to be a bunch of instants. Yeah, even in the amateur category, your rival might score 60 points. Very quickly that 100-point gap can go down. So I'm not saying that Gregory will be leading the championship after tonight, but if Woodhouse has a DNF and Gregory can finish all the races, then that gap will most likely be halved tonight. So still a lot to play for between those 2. I think Harrison's looking very strong in the overall championship lead, but still some pretty good prizes available for the top drivers in both of the classes. So they'll be wanting to get as far up there as possible.
Yes, they certainly will, that's for sure. And I think particularly here at Long Beach and at Montreal for our final round, I mean, we could see some real swings in the momentum, because if you just so much as touch the wall at these types of circuits, well, you'd get instant damage really. And actually we've seen this season, Sam, the Audi RS3 LMS TCR that we have here in iRacing for touring cars, it's not the most sturdy machine in the world. We've actually seen a couple of bizarre technical failures from relatively light contact, so a big thump to the wall is this car's not going to like it.
Yeah, you need to avoid that as much as you possibly can. And yeah, the damage is a bit weird in this car, I think, as is in all of iRacing, and to be fair, that's kind of realistic. You know, you can hit the wall one time and it's fine, then you can hit the wall the next time and the steering's bashed in and that's the end of your race. So there's really very little margin for error here, and yeah, reminder once again, no fast repairs. Unlike all of our other leagues on Apex Racing League and pretty much all of our broadcasts on Apex Racing TV, there are no fast repairs. So if you hit that wall, that is game over and you're not going to score any points. So high stakes. This is around the championship where things can go wrong for you very quick.
Yeah, absolutely so. So at the moment, we've got Corentin Guinez sitting on pole position, a 126.205 for him, 12 thousandths of a second ahead of Terje Flatten in second, with the championship leader Kieran Harrison sitting third. So he'll start no better than the second row at the moment. But Mark Woodhouse, our AM championship leader, in 13th overall. You can see that with his blue icon beside his name. That means he's in the AM class. And Ben Gregory back in 16th overall, so close, but Woodhouse is doing exactly what he needs to do to keep back in those points and extending that AM class championship lead.
Yeah, and impressive that they're ahead of Zaitsev at the moment, and Zaitsev's not going to improve. And actually, just another mention, in qualifying you can't repair your car. So all the crashes that we've been seeing, quite important for the drivers, because and that's maybe why there's so few drivers left out on circuit now, particularly in the amateur category, because if you get damage, then you can't just get like a fast repair. You have to sit out the rest of qualifying, and if you tow back to the pits as well, you're not even allowed to take any of the slow repairs. So yeah, that's why there's quite so few out there, and so I think that's why they're ahead of Zaitsev. But yeah, really good qualifying for Woodhouse. Got a few cars between himself and Gregory, but no, it's going to be a lot of luck down into that turn one. I mean, I'm sure you know, Peter, having raced around here, of course, in the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series, it kind of narrows through those first few corners, and you don't have a whole lot of control in the car.
No, it can be a bit of a lottery coming into that that turn. It's like going into like a blind T junction. It's tricky, but the drivers are about to line up to set it down towards turn 1. Corentin Guinez and Terje Flatten will start from the front row, followed by Kieran Harrison, Wojciech Sawidovic, Norbert Leitner, George Simmons, Roman Bokler, Martin Asher, Roman Persk, and Igor Shirikov rounding out your opening 10. Oystein Hereford and Marcel T will start from row 6, with the 7th row of the grid with Mark Woodhouse and Marcel Fritsch, our 2 leading drivers in the AM class. Vasily Zaitsev and Ben Gregory will start from the 8th row of the grid with Tim Perry, Martin Shirley, Baron Glover and Toby Ward rounding out your top 20. Jack Tingy will start 21st, followed by Arjan Bakker, Fraser Smith and Lars Wheely will round out the 12th row, with Sergei Glazkov, Kevin Marshall-Say and Andrew Brema rounding out our 27-car field. And as we can see there, Sam, 5 drivers not setting a time in qualifying, serving qualifying bans.
Yeah, I believe so. First meeting of the season as well for Lars Veal, first ever Apex Racing League, in fact. So welcome to him. We've had a few new entries as the season's gone on. It's nice to have new drivers constantly joining, and we've only got 2 more meetings of this season to go. But if you want to be in on the fun, we've got a couple of good circuits coming up, Le Mans and Montreal. You can go to apexracingleague.com and go to the touring car section, where you can get yourself signed up. Also loads of other series, 6 other series for you to sign up for as well at the moment. But it seems like Veal will be starting from the track. He's not going to be starting from the pits, but maybe just wanting to have a good view of the chaos ensuing just in front of him.
Yeah, if you're in the middle of that pack, you've got to be super, super careful, because it's very easy to get sandwiched in. But the lights are being prepared. We're about to go racing here at Long Beach in California. The lights go up and out they go. We are racing at Long Beach, and it's a rocketing start for Terje Flatten, who takes the advantage straight away for his Luminous Racing team, and down towards turn 1 they go. Can Flatten hang on, or will Guinez be able to strike an attack? No, he cannot. And look at Kieran Harrison's big send on his teammate, puts his teammate in the fence. Oh dear me. Oh, poor old Corentin Guinez, unceremoniously nerfed, and I think that's Woodhouse off as well. Oh dear, and he's got suspension damage. That's game over.
Yeah, Zaitsev as well with damage. So that is dreadful news for Woodhouse, and Gregory moves up to 13th place as well. Here comes the Jazz coming out of the pits, delighted to see the drivers off around them. So yeah, Guinness got hit by his teammates, and then Woodhouse and Fritsch and Zaitsev all got into one another. They were kind of 11th, 12th and 13th on the grid, and look at the gap that Flatten has got already. He's 2 seconds clear of the rest of the order, and Kieran Harrison in a faultless season, that's probably the biggest mistake he's made.
Yeah, I was about to say, Sam, I think that's a very un-Kieran Harrison move, a pretty late lunge, kind of half-hearted lunge a little bit as well, and poor old Corentin Guinez came off second best. I'm sure they'll have a chat about that in the team room later on, but nevertheless, lap 1 about to be completed just as quick as that. Terje Flatten leads from second on the grid, Kieran Harrison second, and Wojciech Sawidovic into third as well. But as usual, there's an armada of HM Engineering machines, these black and red cars, Harrison, Leitner and Bokler all in the top 5. And I actually saw Roman Bokler racing in the Renault Clio Cup at Hockenheim at the weekend. Oh, wow!
That's going to be
Marcel
into the fountain.
Perske
has a big sip of water there, and that's a shame for Perske, who I think he was up 3 places from his start, but he's got damage now, and he may not be able to finish this race 1. He's trying to get out of the way of the other drivers now, just pick up the slowdown. Going on the inside there. Oh wow, another driver now hits the wall. That was Marcel T, I think. I'm not sure how much damage T has got. You can see it on the front corner. He did hit, I think he hit the wall, didn't he? He didn't even hit the tyres, so it might be a bit of damage for him. So lots of mistakes so far. So Lewis Ward just dropping behind Veal for a second. But not quite sure what happened there with Pershka. I think he just made contact with Ascher maybe as a
Yeah, quite possibly. It's still pretty busy in the mid-pack, and actually Marcel T got a little bit held up from his teammate Perska in a similarly liveried machine, the Team Heusingfeld car, and that might have had a bit of a knock-on effect. But this is dreamland for Ben Gregory, and he has his teammate Tim Perry in the AM class for a bit of cover as well, which is ideal. And this is a huge opportunity for Ben Gregory to score a huge chunk of points. And of course, Mark Woodhouse will start right from the back of the grid for race 2 as well.
Yeah, exactly. The reverse grid for race 2 is going to be 16 cars. So, yeah, Gregory's currently inside of that, so he'll be starting and right now in 5th position, and yeah, Woodhouse will be starting down in 25th place. So, yeah, big change for him. So at the moment, it's Pershka, Bakker, Guinness, Woodhouse, Fritsch, and Zaitsev all out of the race. Andrew Bramer was nearly out of the race there, but he's kept that car out of the wall impressively. I think, is it getting away nicely? I know it seems to be jolting about a bit, but no scratches on that car, and he's back on his way in 21st.
I think he maybe put it in the tyre wall, but it's quite a soft and squishy tyre wall there at turn 1, and I think maybe just tapped into it at slow speed possibly. But anyway, Andrew Bramer gets going again. Whatever's happened, he's like I say, doesn't seem to be too hampered. So Kieran Harrison still holding 2nd position, and doesn't seem to be tailoring too much time out of Terje Flatten's lead. And of course, the draft, this is really all along this front straight, the only time where you've really got to worry about it.
Yeah, overtaking should be possible tonight, but it'll be easy. And at the moment, Savidovic not close enough for a move. I'm sure he's gaining a couple of tenths of a second down that front stretch. In fact, you can keep an eye on how much he's gaining by clicking on the live timing link in the description below. It opens up a web page, and you can see the relative screen between each of the drivers. And yeah, you can kind of see where the drivers are losing and gaining time, and also look at a bunch of other information as well about the race. I did see Harrison went a little bit wide through turn 1. That has just got Savidovic a bit closer. He's within half a second, and Savidovic also just set the fastest lap of the race. They were catching up to Flatz. Flatz has just been able to pull away again a little bit, back up to 1.7 seconds at the moment. As again, that's a little bit wide for Harrison. Savidovic to within 4 tenths of a second and gaining a decent amount of time down this back straight. I expect it to be a bit of a gentleman's agreement tonight when the drivers, particularly the top guys, to not overtake through the hairpin, even if you're real close like Savidovic is here. I don't think it's very likely that we'll see many moves into the hairpin, because there's such high risk, and maybe leave the other driver anywhere to go. Savidovic closer than ever, but yeah, 3.5 tenths back.
Yeah, the thing is that if you make that move, and even if you do make it work, which is, as you say, Sam, highly unlikely at that hairpin, the chances of actually making it stick are so slim. And actually, you're better just getting a run and using it up into turn 1, get a good run out of the hairpin, and make the move on the brakes into turn 1. As Simmons going past Roman Bokler there into the waterfall.
Bokler let that one go fairly easy, considering that his teammates got an interest. Maybe all the HM engineering drivers have turned against Harrison after he's murdered one of his drivers earlier on, as I think Simmons might realise he's on stream, I'm quite sure. Yeah, not sure.
Are you saying thank you?
I think he was saying thank you, I think you're right, and then Boke was saying, oh, no problem, mate. This is an alliance. If this was Drive to Survive, that would totally be a storyline. Throw in some loud wheel gun noises, and we got ourselves a Netflix show.
Yeah,
so,
and does that make Lee Cyril? I don't know why he did this. I don't know. I feel so hurt and let down and betrayed. No, I think Austin's probably Gunter, actually.
Yeah.
Good. Who's Will Buxton?
Oh, well, I think that's one of us two. Who's really annoying? Who's the more annoying commentator? Let's just know on the chats, and that will become our Will Buxton
engagement. Oh, I'm nervous now.
This is the engagement I'm sure everyone's been waiting to get involved in.
Can I be Jackie Stewart? Because I've got sideburns and I'm Scottish.
Yeah, but that makes me Will Buxton. I don't want him to be him.
Okay.
Anyway, let us know in the chat. Any ideas?
It's Monsters Inc. and cars all over again.
Yeah. I think Smith just got past Shirley, so apologies if we didn't comment on that. And also Glasgow gets past Tingy. So he's now 2 places short of the reverse grid. And Ward's very slow up the road. Ward just did a 30 compared to the leaders in the 26s. I can't imagine that's his real pace. Nah, I think that's his real pace. He's got damage to Ward. You can see a bit of it, and he's just slow throughout the lap. So Glasgow will get Ward. Could he get Shirley as well? Could be tight. Whoever gets 16th will get reverse grid pole. So that's why it's quite so important. So important for Glasgow to get a move on. And it's very close for the lead now. Platson's just had a poor 3rd sector. Now usually I'd say let's see the replay of it, but because there's no off tracks around this place, because it's all walls, it's very tricky to identify where an incident happened. But it was on sector 3 out of 4 on this lap, and Platson lost about a second. So the top 4 now are all fairly close, and also George Simmons is catching up to these guys very quickly. So we've got a proper race on our hands here, and we're not biased in the commentary box. I feel a bit bad if Harrison won though, considering because he made contact with his teammate early on in turn 1.
Possibly. I wonder what Cornton Guinness is thinking right now, possibly. Yes, that would be the HM Engineering team manager. Will have to be using some diplomatic... He'll need to be a Zach Brown, just sort of making sure everyone's happy in the camp. Or would he be a total wolf? I don't know. Well, if he's a total wolf, then that probably makes Kieran Harrison Lewis Hamilton, because he's done all the winning.
Yep.
And not really worried about his teammates' fortunes. I mean, why would he?
I think Harrison might be past him fairly quick. Again, I don't think he'll go for the move in the hairpin. But Flatson is looking a bit vulnerable here. Got pole position, remember? Apologies, got 2nd place on the grid, of course, didn't he? It was Guinness who got pole. Flatson did out-qualify Harrison at least, but down the straight, that looks pretty good for him. And he it's only starting to be caught once they kind of reach the start-finish line. Will Harrison go for a huge launch here? No, I think if Harrison can get within about 3/10 coming out of the hairpin, he should have a good chance into turn 1.
Yeah, I think it's all about that. Yeah, it's all about that run out the final hairpin and getting in that draft. But Terry Flatton seems to be pretty good at breaking that draft or minimising the effect of it at least. And yeah, Harrison's really having to drive the wheels off it to try and get close enough. And of course, it would seem Swearidowicz isn't far away with Norbert Leitner in tow as well. So if these guys get together, you never know. The only thing is though, Sam, you maybe think that Harrison might be a little bit more hesitant after that pretty abrupt incident with Guinness, possibly. I
think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, you don't want to have another one. I mean, the bad thing is, I mean, maybe I'm pointing out a weakness of this series, but the drivers report the incidents. Because the stewards have lives. Well, I don't, but the other stewards have lives, and so they're not able to go through the replay all the way through. So unless Guinness is willing to protest his teammate, Harrison will probably get away with that incident. So Harrison could get a full amount of points potentially, and really to receive no consequences for that, as he is very close here. Flatson's going to have to cover this one off. I felt confident enough to leave it open, sliding on the brakes into turn 1. But yeah, Harrison was about 3.5 of a second away that time, and that was very close that time.
I feel that would compromise inter-team relations and morale if Guinness was to protest his teammate. Maybe just settle it with some behind the bike sheds fisticuffs, possibly. I tell you what it would be like, and they were also red cars. The 888 Vauxhall Super Touring Car team, where they were so dominant, and it was Ivan Muller and Jason Plato, and they were actually protesting one another in the steward. And it got pretty nasty. I don't think that will happen here. Let's hope not.
I was taken out by my teammate in round 1 of the Porsche Cup series a couple of weeks ago. Bob Humphrey, if you're listening along, I haven't forgiven you. And I was within inches of protesting him, and that was round 1. Round 14, I feel like you may have got a bit more aggro with your teammates, so I don't know, it might happen, but it's unlikely. Look at Simmons actually catching up to these guys. Simmons in 5th place. He's now only about 3 seconds off the lead is Simmons, after dropping down to 8th position off the start. He started 6th, dropped down to 8th. In fact, these top 7 are all in exactly the same order as they started, apart from the fact that Guinness, of course, crashed from the lead. So, apart from that, they're all in the exact same order. They have shuffled around a little bit, but they've all found themselves back into their same positions. So, yeah, not too much change. Still got 6.5 more minutes to go in this one. As that was a hit with Harrison. You got to be careful with these sparks because sometimes they are just net code, but make sure that was Harrison properly hitting the wall.
I thought that he's flicked a cigarette out the window. That always is a bit disconcerting when you're driving along the road and it's dark and someone flicks a cigarette out, and it's sort of, yeah, it can be a little bit disconcerting. But yeah, that would be the right word.
I mean, they're leaking oil at the same time, then yeah.
It's not good. No, or petrol. I had a car that leaked, the petrol tank leaked. Thankfully it did it all at once, so we knew the problem was there rather than a slow drip. Remember, it was all, I just filled it with fuel. It was my first ever car, Fiat Seicento Sporting, not the last word in reliability. And yeah, the fuel tank absolutely wet itself all over the co-op car park.
Wow.
So if someone had dropped a cigarette, it would have been on the news.
Yeah, yeah. Fortunately, you'd given up smoking the day before, and it was all good. Fraser Smith is past Lars Veal there. Veal doing very well. They're placing the amateurs in his first ever race. But Smith, who didn't qualify because of a pit lane start, up into 13th or within the first good places. But no, that's an excuse to stop smoking if I've ever heard one. Just in case your fuel tank ever falls out of the car.
Yes, well, and on that occasion, not that I've actually never smoked in my life, but I wouldn't have been able to anyway because I was with my mum, because I was still with L plates at that point.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so there you go. That's another way to do it. If you are a smoker, just make sure if you do have a Fiat Seicento Sporting on an X-Reg that's maybe a little bit ropey, which they all are, maybe just make sure you've got your mum with you so you're not tempted to spark up.
Exactly. Okay.
Neither of us can be Will Buxton with that kind of kind guiding advice, surely.
You're not annoying enough yet.
No.
Maybe Crofty level at the moment.
Oh, maybe. I always find that the smug. I remember when Paddy Lowe, I think it was second series, Paddy Lowe got sacked from Williams, and he just goes, "Bye, Paddy," with the most smug grin I think I've ever seen. I'm going, all right, well, how would you feel if you just lost your job?
I've never watched an episode. I just know the memes. I know the edits. So this is for the amateur leads then between Perry and Gregory. We might see a change here, and just after we get to turn 1, we'll switch to the leaders. But this one might change quite soon. It's 0.2 of a second. Gregory for a good amount of points anyway here, and does just hesitate. Surely he's coming to the pits, but as long as he gets back out there, should be alright. We did see a car hit the wall a little while back, so I think that may have been Shirley. In the lead though, it is now the top 5 separated by 2.4 seconds. They keep on closing in on one another like they are, then they'll be, that's definitely a hit against the wall, isn't it, for Leitner, but too much visible damage. Simmons needs all the places he can get. Poor qualifying for Simmons and a poor start as well. Has left him a lot to do. Flatson though, meanwhile, actually extending that gap out in the lead, but yeah, any of these guys will do very good to make a move.
Just trying to see if Leitner's front left tyre has gone down, but it's hard to tell. But that was a pretty big thump that he took there. I don't think so. I think it would have gone down by now if it was. But Yeah, that's not what you want when you just get a little squish, a little skiff of the wall. It can sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes not. But I tell you what, Sam, this has been an imperious drive from Terrier Flatten. It started with that immaculate launch and just left Guinez for dead off the line, and he's controlled this gap spectacularly well.
I don't believe he's won a race 1 this season, has he? I think he's got reverse grid race wins.
Race 3 at France Hatch, I seem to remember.
Wow, your memory's better than mine.
I'll do the Sam Fitzpatrick trademark. I think he's won a race before. Or he might have won a race before. That's like saying I might have won the Monaco Grand Prix. I haven't.
Well, I might have done.
I might have done it.
Let's not rule it out. 2012 was a sketchy year for me. I can't remember everything.
Even Maldonado won in 2012, so...
Well, exactly, yeah. But yeah, I don't think he's won a race 1. But clearly, very good around this Long Beach circuit. Really hitched up the car, and whilst Harrison was faster in the early stages, I think Flatten's had the edge on him since. Now here comes Simmons. Is it going to be gentleman's agreements out of the window here? Oh, that's a tap. Get on the power early. I mean, it's so tricky to stay closer than 310s coming out of that corner, because obviously it's the ultimate Constantino effect because you're going so slow. Final lap of the race, by the way. Fortunately for Simmons, the car ahead has got the slight draft from Savinovic up ahead. Simmons will look to the inside, but it's probably his best chance of getting past Gon. Probably the fastest driver out here, Simmons, in this race 1, but he just hasn't been able to do anything with it.
I get the feeling that Simmons is really kind of he's biting the top of the steering wheel right now. You just tell by his driving style, he's absolutely pushing. A little skiff of the wall there as well. Wonder if he'll get away with that one, but he's just not able to get by Norbert Leitner, and got to be really, really frustrating. But Terry Flatten's just got to hang on a little bit longer, and Kieran Harrison, his overtaking opportunities, well, they're running out.
Yeah, just needs to nail this one, Flatson. That should be enough. That's Harrison really does do the kitchen sink at it in the final corner. It's also fairly close for the amateur lead, but we'll stick with these guys. Probably cut to those guys because, that's 3 butts just outside the top 10. But, Terry Flatson, what a good performance, great qualifying, and great start and great race.
Absolutely superb from the Norwegian star. Terje Flatten then comes out the final hairpin, heads up to the line, checker flag in the air. Terje Flatten is your winner here in race number 1 at Long Beach. Superb performance with Kieran Harrison in second in slightly controversial circumstances, with Wojciech Saridovic rounding out the top 3. Now, who's going to be the winner in AM? Well, Tim Perry still has an outside chance of the championship in the AM class. Finishes ahead of his teammate Ben Gregory. So a perfect start to the day for Three Spires Boosted Motorsport.
Yep, and of course Virginia pole sitter, Fraser Smith, finishing in 13th place. From the pit lane. And he'll be starting fairly high up for the reverse grid. And Glasgow did get within the reverse grid, so we had the pit stop and retirement, I think, for Shirley, and that promoted the position that Glasgow needed. Also, Ward was, of course, faced. I had damage for pretty much all the race did Ward, so Glasgow just about gets within the reverse grid places. And we'll be on reverse grid pole. We'd like to see Wild Animals win a race. I think they've won a race before, but it'd be nice if they won another one.
It certainly would, yeah. Of course, the guys did really, really well at Summit Point a little while back as well. So, it'd be good to see Wild Animals continue their strong run to the end of the season. So let's have a look at the results and see how they finished here in race 1 at Long Beach. Terje Flatten, your winner then, from Kieran Harrison and Wojciech Saridovic rounding out the podium. Norbert Leitner, George Simmons, Roman Bokler, Martin Asher, Oystein Herford, Igor Sherikov and Marcel T round out your top 10. Tim Perry is your AM class winner in 11th, with Ben Gregory in 12th, Fraser Smith 13th, Lars Vile in 14th, Baron Glover in 15th, and Sergei Glasgow, as we said, taking the reverse grid pole position for race 2. Your other finishers, Toby Ward, Jack Tingy, Andrew Bramer on the lead lap, with Roman Persk, Martin Shirley, Kevin Marshall, Arian Backer, Vasily Zaitsev, Corentin Guinness, Mark Woodhouse, and Marcel Fritsch rounding out your 27 car field. Some big names there at the back of the pack, and not catching a reverse grid either, so it's going to be a long old night for Corentin Guinness, our pole sitter, don't forget, and Mark Woodhouse, the AM Championship leader.
Yeah, and the reverse grid for race 3 will be 17. It's a bit shorter tonight. And so, as long as they can get within those positions, shouldn't be too bad. If anything, I think for Guinness, I mean, starting as low down as he is, in 25th, would have thought he should be able to avoid all the mess at least into turn 1. But yeah, this could be pretty crazy. Could easily have a pile up through the first few corners. Hopefully we will not have one. But yeah, it could be pretty manic. We've got about another 80 seconds or so till the lights go green, so that's why the drivers are just slowly approaching the grid, just popping onto the circuit before we get the race 2 of the evening underway.
And what a beautiful place to go racing this is here at Long Beach on the streets. It was the vision of a man called Chris Pook who decided that it would be a good idea to go racing on the streets of Long Beach. And of course, he was absolutely right. The first event back in 1975 was actually an F5000 race won by the Great Britain Brian Redmond in front of a 46,000 strong crowd. But the first F1 race came a year later, won by Clay Regazzoni in a Ferrari. But the last F1 race here in 1983, Sam, was won by a fellow commentator of ours, none other than John Watson in a McLaren, winning from the back of the grid.
Yeah, of course. Wasn't he from like 23rd place or something? It was absolutely madness. I think that's still a record. So yeah, pretty awesome. That's that race win. Yeah, I didn't realize how many times this circuit has been revised, but yeah, this final layout has proven to be quite iconic over the last couple of decades.
I would urge anyone after this race to tune in. And we're going again. Hold that thought. We're ready to go racing again. Sergei Glazkov and Baron Glover lead us away from the front row for race number 2 here at Long Beach. We're going for another 20 minutes on the streets of this Californian city. Sergei Glazkov leads the way very confidently down towards turn 1. Can Baron Glover have anything to say about it? No. It's a good start from Fraser Smith, who immediately moves up into second place, as Vila getting wiggly on the brakes there as well. But the leaders get through clean, as do Ben Gregory and Tim Perry. So the good evening continues for Three Spires Boosted Motorsport.
Gregory did well to get through there, and I think if they weren't teammates, there would have been a collision between those two. But they did well, as there's a slide now for Hereford, just getting nerfed out of the way by Shirikov, moving up, and I think Hereford might lose out to Ascher, and he's also got Bokler very quick behind us. Now he's going to get boxed in as well. 3 places lost very quickly for the Norwegian driver. He gets overtaken around the outside. Now he's got the likes of Simmons and Savidovic just behind. Apex cars nearly coming together. That is Flatten with an aggressive move, as there's a couple of contests. I think that may have been maybe Bokler going particularly close to the wall. He was taking an unusual line coming out of the corner. That's actually a couple of good corners for Flatten right there. Let's look at these guys, Apex versus HM Engineering, still going at it. So they're very close into the hairpin. There's going to be a little bit of contact between Bokler and Simmons, and there's a bit of contact as well further back with Hairpin and Leitner, but they all kind of just get punted around slightly, but not enough for a full spin.
Yeah, it is always a little bit of a bumper car event there going around the hairpin to start with. Good move here from Fraser Smith. Can he get it done? Oh, just gets it done in time. Glazkov actually has to back out of it. Oh, Baron Glover's in the wall hard at turn 1. And, well, that is game over for the American. Let's see what happened. Looked like he's going to try and make a move here on one of the Team Heusenfeld cars. And that's bizarre because these cars have ABS, but as soon as he hits the brake, he just lost it.
Yeah, I guess he kind of second-guessed himself and wanted to go inside, then outside, got on the brakes, unsettled the car. But you're right, that is unusual for him to leave the car quite like that. As I hear some contact. I'm not sure if the viewers heard that, but I certainly heard the driver hit the wall. But we'll see if there's any remnants of a slow car just ahead. This is Perry then ahead of this long train. So I think it was T who was being overtaken before the other driver crashed. And it's all slowing them up a lot. Look at the move from Simmons. What a move that is. But he's going to be alongside now into the hairpin. The 1-2-2 is around him. Simmons tries it in deep. They're all really making a lot of contact. There's a big bit of contact there, and we've got a Team Cruiser car in the middle of the circuit. They all tried to spray out, and that was just luck of the draw of where you were.
And it looks like it's tangled up Norbert Leitner, and oh, Marcel T tries to reverse, and I think he's caught. Is that Fritsch that he's caught there? I think it is, in the GT tyre machine. Oh dear. And the thing is, if you spin there coming out of the hairpin, I mean, there's not really a great deal you can do to, like, it's not a good idea to move, but then by staying there as well, I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You are going to be a rolling roadblock.
Yeah. I wonder if you get a replay of that, actually, just how it kicked off. Because I'm not sure if it kicked off with Simmons and maybe Guinness? Maybe even, was it Savidovic? Maybe I was calling the wrong car. No, so actually it was the 117 and T then. So it was Shurikov and T colliding, which was the initial problem. That's why you don't overtake at the hairpin. I'm not sure if that was necessarily any one driver's fault, and then T, for some sort of reason, trying to get underway when there were still cars coming, which was odd for the third place man in the championship.
Oh, and this is getting very busy now as well, as Corentin Guina is fighting back after a really difficult race one, and it nearly gets shoved into the wall by Shirikov as well, who's making no friends out on track right now. But Guina is full lock there going round the hairpin. In fact, speaking of Audis, Alan McNish used to race in the American Le Mans series that raced a lot here at Long Beach. He when they used to come here in the Audi R10 TDI LMP1 diesel with nearly 1,000 horsepower, said the car, that it wasn't designed for this, it was designed for Le Mans, and they actually found it difficult to even make it round the hairpin and had to sort of bounce off the wall on the way through, and that's a beautiful move from Guinness there into turn one.
Yeah, I can imagine how tricky it must have been to get that thing around these streets. Yeah, Guinness with a lot more straight line speed than Shurikov there, so I think Shurikov, of course, has been in a couple of incidents, maybe a bit too much damage to really fight competitively with one of the front runners of the series, but Guinness now up 15 places after that poor race one. Boat close finally past Perry. It took him long enough, but Perry with a very good defense, and actually Perry's still trying to fight this one. Has he been able to hang on to this one? Perry, he has. They've been able to drop the drivers behind after that pile-up at the hairpin. Boatclair now with better straight line speed, or better exit I should say, and is finally passed up into 5th place. Now he'll set his sights on Gregory and Cole, though he's a bit too deep to the right-hander there. Just behind them as Chair, quite under the radar, doing well in 7th place. And Cole Simmons looking to take points out of Harrison at the moment. He was a bit of a loser out of that whole incident. And into 14th. And by the way, the retirees so far, Hereford, T and Batka. We've also got Glover over a lap down already. So 3 retirements and Glover going to take a tow earlier on.
Indeed, yeah, and it would be quite a long tow, I would imagine, as well, because it was just at the start of the lap for Baron Glover, and it's going to be pretty much impossible to get back into that position to score points. The only thing is, though, even though you can't score points, it is in your interest to keep going, especially at a circuit like this where attrition can be so high, because you never know who crashes in front of you. Baron Glover's in 24th right now. If he has a good run of things and people crash ahead of him, if he could get up to 17th, he'll get reverse grid pole.
Yeah, exactly. And you can still score points from here. You need to be... Oh, he'll do well to score points on it, to be honest. You need to be 0 or 1 laps down, and you might just see Smith. You can quite see Smith in the background, but Smith isn't too far behind. Glover is doing... In fact, that was his first lap out into the pit, so I'm not sure what lap times he's doing to Begler, but yeah, needs to be quick because it is like the next drivers, and if he does get lapped twice, then he won't score any points, so needs to keep the pace up. Simmons onto the back of Ascher here, so he should be, I don't think it's going to take too long for Simmons to get past the Dutch driver, who was another mid-season entry, I believe, but has kept his nose clean on the most part this season. Let's see if Simmons can get the move done here. Looks up the inside, but actually doesn't go for it. So he's going to wait behind a bit longer. They are catching up slightly. Actually, I think they're kind of maintaining the gaps. Meanwhile, Zaitsev versus Hershka here. And that is Zaitsev past, and the HM Engineering driver tries to go through as well of Harrison.
Oh, it's got into Harrison.
Yeah, he's possessed tonight.
I think it's because he's like, well, championship's in the bag, I can go completely bananas now.
Oh, he's letting the place go. I mean, that's more like him, isn't it? He was taken over by spirits there, and now he's regained himself.
Yeah, that's well, he's going to have another go here down into Salonpas Turn, down Pine Avenue, onto Seaside Way. I love it how all the parts of the circuit are named after their street names where they've plonked it on for the Grand Prix. And of course, we've got a double header here at Long Beach in September with IMSA and IndyCar heading here, and I believe it's the IndyCar season finale as well. There's a holiday.
Yeah, be a good host. Tingy with a bit of contact with Flats, and that is very close for second position. So apologies, we may have to turn away from these drives, but it's down to 3/10, and look at this, it's a bit of a queue now behind Glasgow, who runs it deep. Can't really overtake it. Look at Lars Veal. Oh my god, that's... No, Lars, don't overtake there. I know that maybe you can go side by side around a roundabout on a normal day, on race day. It's very tricky to do. Just wait behind us, the German. Gregory and Bokler there, and then also Perry catching up to these guys a little bit, but once Simmons gets past, Simmons will be catching up to these guys rapidly. Simmons could get a second place out of this one, I think, because he's now past Perry, and that was a little bit of a block for him. And here comes Savidovic, contact with Ascher, who tries to make this move regardless. It's also kicking off just ahead with Glasgow and Veal and Bokler as well. This is Bokler getting past Veal. So he's up into third place now as well.
Good move there, nice and clean from Roman Bokler, heading down into Firestone Turn 9 on the circuit. And there is quite a bit of side, but a little bit of contact there between Servidovic and Corentin Guinez, and as we've seen so many times this season, Sam, wheel-to-wheel contact, and in the quite literal, that term is used a lot, but wheel-to-wheel, as in your wheel hitting another driver's wheel, is not conducive to the car staying in a straight line, we've found.
Yeah, that was going all very aggressive. This is getting aggressive again here. Guinez round the outside. This will be an epic move if he can pull it off, and he has. Lovely stuff there from Guinez. He was putting a lot of faith in Savidovic to not understeer him into the wall. But if there's any doubt about Guinez's pace tonight, that has answered any questions. He's up into 9. I wonder if Harrison's got a bit of damage actually. Yeah, Harrison's time's alright too, but he's just not doing much in 13th. Meanwhile, Simmons doing a lot. He's up into 5th. Harrison actually not that far behind, is he? But he's just at the back of this pack, whilst Simmons is nearly at the front now. But do well to gain any places from here, Harrison, because he's got some very quick drivers directly in front.
Only slight consolation, I suppose, for Harrison is that, well, he'll have a pretty strong grid spot for race 3. Of course, a 17-car reverse, so if he stays where he is, he'll start from the front couple of rows. So that's what the inside of an Audi looks like. Oh, it's Martin Ascher having a strong old look to the back of Tim Perry, who is 7th overall, but 4th in the AM class. So good run from our AM drivers, but it was good to have a chat with Martin Ascher after his race win at Kota. A few weeks ago, Biff, for Terry Flatten there. But it was great to discuss the many merits of Van Dobben croquettes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they are.
They are just dreamland. They are so good. How would I describe them? They are, normally they're made from veal, but you can get them in other meats, and it's just like sort of slow cooked meat and gravy, like inside the sort of deep fried kind of tube kind of thing. I've probably not described that very well, but they're delicious. Yeah,
It's good, honestly.
it's very good. I do miss them. I do miss my travels to Holland when I got to eat them on a regular basis.
Of course, one of the agreements to signing up this series is that if we so choose, you have to home us for a weekend if we fancy a vacation at your house.
Yes.
So we'll make
in the small
a
print.
beeline to that. Yeah. Glazkov is holding on here against Veal, isn't he? So, contact there, Veal up the inside. Simmons will get past the pair of them. There just wasn't enough doing on. And in the background, we've had, was that Svidovic and Guinness again?
Yes, and somebody else.
Ascher and Perry were also involved. I think it was actually Ascher and Perry because I think Guinness was a little bit behind. Oh no, I think there's been another crash down the straight.
There has, yes. I thought I heard screeching of tyres. So Guinness sort of. Oh, actually no. Guinness was sort of leaning on Svidovic to start with, and Svidovic thought, well, okay, I'll have you back then, and that just sort of all sort of triggered into one big domino effect. Now let's see what happens here. Martin Ascher. Oh. Now. Oh my, that's a big one for Tim Perry, and he hits the that's Harrison. Oh my goodness me. Now, for Ascher, was that a suspension failure, or was that a deliberate move across? I really hope it's the former.
Who was that? Ascher?
Yeah, the contact between Ascher and and between Perry there. It's bizarre. Sort of Ascher just speared across the circuit.
Well, I think Guinness made contact as well.
Ah,
and
okay.
maybe that pitched him into a spin. Oh, very unnecessary. I don't know why Guinness was. Guinness and Svidovic seemingly had something against one another. You know, they've been very aggressive against one another so far, and it's very switch on that a bit surprised about because, of course, had nothing to do with one another in race one. But Guinness somehow gets through it all cleanly, and Svidovic gets through it all cleanly, even though they were kind of the two which triggered it off in the first place. So you can see how many draws now in the pits. Perry, Shurkov, Harrison. Oh, well, so Harrison, yeah, massive damage for Harrison. That's a lot of points dropped for him, isn't it? So, yeah, big change right there.
Well, that changes the complexion of Kieran Harrison's race 3 completely. And look where George Simmons is on the podium at this moment in time. So it flips around once again. Do you know what? We not that we're the great sorcerers or anything, Sam, but we did predict this. This was what we expected, to have a high attrition rate here at Long Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. So it has been the case. Currently, reverse grid pole would be Fritsch. Glover just means that's 18th, meanwhile. So he would just be missing out on that reverse grid, but of course, more stuff could happen potentially ahead. So, yeah, great news for the two men who are second place in the championship, isn't it? Simmons and Gregory are running up in 3rd and 5th with their championship rivals behind them. Woodhouse still doing decent, to be fair, in 12th. And of course, Harrison out of the race. Gregory's still trying to find this move on Veal. He's been behind him pretty much this entire race. Also, Flatson might be getting past Tingy in just a moment. There's about 0.2 of a second here. Flatson would normally be much faster. Of course, he won race 1, but he's got a lot of damage on the front of that car, and so I think that's kind of evening out this battle.
Yeah, it looks like Terry Flatton's about to run over his front bumper at any moment. Trying to tap the back of Tingy's car to try and stick it back on again. Tingy, he does have damage, not quite as serious. It's his front left wing mirror is dangling on a thread. Might not look serious, but I can assure you the bill from your local Audi dealer to repair it certainly will be.
Can you see what's coming out the back? There's like, I think it's just sparks, but...
That'll be £1,000, sir, for that puddle light.
Yeah.
Have you seen these puddle lights?
I haven't, no.
So you know, like you open the car door in the dark, and there's a little kind of light. It's like a flashlight that comes down from the mirror, and it sort of makes like, so say it's like a Range Rover or an Audi or whatever. It'll have like the car badge or an outline of the car or something, like a Batman kind of like flashlight thing on the floor, and it's designed so you can spot puddles, so you don't end up stepping in them. It's actually just a way. It's just a really naff way of showing off that you've got a car with puddle lights. Really, they're only there to satisfy themselves.
Yeah.
Alex Simpson's RS3 has them.
Well, why am I not surprised? Alex can't avoid a puddle. Simpson, after all, notorious for
needs the lights.
He attracts those puddles. That's why I've never seen as many puddles around a single man before. So I'll excuse him from that one. Veal is still ahead, isn't he? Others are catching up though. Glasgow and Guinness, Savinovic, all closing in.
Indeed, they're all. I tell you what, this has been a superb ARLTC debut from Veal, but I tell you what, Gregory, playing fast and loose here. Another scrape with the wall. Seen a few drivers getting away with it, and incredible the level of attrition here. Now, what did we say about Baron Glover? Ended up his race appeared to be over. Absolutely flat out into the wall at turn 1. He's now in 18th. He's actually just set his personal best of the race with all that damage. He just needs one more person to drop out, and he's on reverse grid pole.
Yeah, just needs one more. Oh, what's all going on here? Quickly almost getting past. Meanwhile, Guinness, we pass Glasgow, I think. Glasgow holds on to that one. Glasgow's defended well tonight. Of course, he was running out as high as second place for a while. He was running in the lead. That's like reverse grid pole. So he does know how to defend. I just feel like Guinness is probably going to set this regardless. Guinness has been very aggressive in this race as they move on to the white flag lap. So you might see a dive just behind. But this is for the lead in the amateur category. Veal holds on again. Gregory doesn't necessarily need those 2 points. Much better to bank the points that he's already got. Meanwhile, that is passed finally then for Guinness. Glasgow couldn't hold him off. And here comes Savinovic up the inside. That's wide for Glasgow. It's just letting these drivers go. And he might let his teammate go as well. So shame for Sergei, who defended very well, but he loses 3 places in 2 corners.
I think maybe we had his teammate on the radio there saying, you need to let me go by, quite possibly, or he was just thinking, you guys are nuts, you can go through, I'm not having any more of this.
Gregory.
Oh,
I hear crashing.
Scrape. Oh no. See, these are the battles that Gregory needs to be very careful getting into. He's, like you said, Sam, he's got to book these points, but he's somehow got past Vila. Vila's going to try and go around the outside. That is very bold, but he might be rewarded for it. Goodness me, this will be move of the race if he's done it. Vila, they go side by side into the hairpin. That never, ever, ever works. And it certainly hasn't for Vila. And poof! Hit from Guinness. And poor old Vila's going to tumble down the order. And he's got damage. He's going to have to limp it over the drive. And Gregory gets the AM class win in very controversial circumstances. Fraser Smith, your Pro Class winner, and overall, what a drive from the VIR pole sitter.
Yeah, he won by 4.5 seconds in the end over Bokler. So congrats to Fraser. Apologies we didn't show him too much, but obviously some exciting stuff happening at the end there. Bokler was only just clear of Simmons as well. I think Simmons got that gap down to pretty much 2/10 by the line. But no, it was a second by the line. I thought it was a bit closer than that. But it was certainly close between second and third. And yeah, Gregory managing to make that move right at the end. I don't think it was Gregory's fault, but again, Guinness coming out of nowhere and making sure that he gained another place. Guinness didn't make any friends out there, but did get up to 5th place. Surprised he kept it within the instant limit, to be fair.
Absolutely, yeah. In theory, you should only be allowed 4 hits with another card. Otherwise, you exceed the incident point limit. I wonder if that might show up in the results, quite possibly, because that was obviously quite late on in the race. You wouldn't have been able to serve a penalty if it was given. Let's have a look.
8 by the way.
What?
I'm surprised.
How? I mean, I'm sure we saw him have 3 big clashes. Anyway, never mind. Fraser Smith, your winner then, by 4.5 seconds from HM Engineering's Roman Bokler. George Simmons rounds out your podium in 3rd, with Ben Gregory clinching the AM class victory at the very last moment. Konstantin Guinez barges his way through to 5th position, with Wojciech Sawidovic and Vasily Zaitsev following behind them, with Sergei Glazkov in 8th, Lars Vila in 9th, and Martin Aschert rounding out the top 10. Toby Ward was 11th, with AM Championship leader Mark Woodhouse in 12th. Jack Tingy was 13th, followed by Terrier Flatten, Martin Shirley, Norbert Leitner, the last car on the lead lap. Marcel Fritsch was 1 lap down and will score points. Baron Glover just missing out on that reverse grid pole, which will go to Marcel Fritsch, and finishes in 18th position. And our last few drivers off the lead lap and not scoring points are Kieran Harrison, Tim Perry, Igor Shirokov, Roman Persky, Kevin Marshallsey, Andrew Brema, Oyston Hereford, Marcel T, and Arjen Bakker, rounding out the 27-car field. So we have one more race to go here at Long Beach tonight. 20-minute race as always, a 17-car reverse grid. But before we go into that 3rd race, we're going to get a very short break here on Apex Racing TV, and we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Apex Racing TV, where we're just in the middle of final preparations for the 3rd and final race of this meeting here at Long Beach for round 14 of the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship. Our drivers are just in the last moments of warm-up, and we will be going racing on the straights of Long Beach. And Sam, there are a number of high-profile names who are going to be starting deep in the pack.
Yeah, some big problems, weren't there, in that race? I'm not quite sure what the front of this order will be, to be honest. I think all the front runners will be pretty much starting from the back, won't they? Because it was either they got to the front or they didn't finish the race. Because Harrison going to be starting way down the order, and of course, yeah, 17 cars reverse. So Simmons starting from 15th position. As well, we'll get confirmation now because we are about to start gooding up.
That we are. So let's have a look then and see how they start for this third and final race of the day here at Long Beach. Marcel Fritsch and Norbert Leitner start on the front row of the grid, with Martin Shirley and race 1 winner Terje Flatten starting from 4th on the grid. Jack Tingy and Mark Woodhouse start from row 3, with Toby Ward and Martin Archer on row 4. Lars Wheeler and Sergei Glazkov round out row 5, with Vasily Zaitsev and Wojciech Savidovic rounding out row 6. Starting 13th today will be Corentin Guinez, followed by Ben Gregory, George Simmons, Roman Bokler, Fraser Smith, Baron Glover, Kieran Harrison and Tim Perry rounding out the top 20. Igor Shirokov and Roman Per start from row 11, followed by Kevin Marshallsay, Andrew Brema, Oystein Herford, Marcel T and Arjen Bakker round out our 27 cars. The lights are being prepared. We're ready to race for the final time here at Long Beach. It's Marcel Fritsch on pole position, but look at that launch from Leitner. Lightning getaway from the Hungarian driver. Off we go into this 20-minute sprint race. It looks like it's going to be HM Engineering's Norbert Leitner making it into turn 1 on the right path, and he's done so. But great start from Terje Flatten in second.
One of the 3 Aspires cars was all over the place down into turn 1, but they managed to get it stopped. They head through the roundabout of the fountain section for the first time. And that is Harrison trying to go real strong around the outside, watching he's got one of his teammates behind so he won't get attacked too much. But yeah, awesome start for Leitner. Him and Flatten should have an epic race to the end of the line. I mean, absolutely terrific drivers, both worthy of a race win in a race 1, let alone a race 3. Also, I think that was Savidovic just bursting down the inside of Bokler, and Hereford making up a couple of places as well. No massive gainers. Savidovic actually dropped 6 places off the start, so poor start for Wojciech. He's actually the biggest loss of the race so far.
Yeah, well, we saw, of course, in race 2 that Wojciech Savidovic, as Ben Gregory gets a big old nudge there from one of the HM Engineering guys. I think that's Kieran Harrison, actually, and that was a big contact. I'd be surprised if either of those cars get through that little exchange there. And let's see, Harrison certainly carried on, and Gregory carrying on as well by the looks of things. So that's good to see, but neither of those guys want to see that, particularly Ben Gregory, who, of course, is chasing down Mark Woodhouse in the AM Championship, and Woodhouse in 4th right now.
Yeah, cannot afford a DNF either of them. Simmons, that's Wheeler. Simmons has driven very well, of course, as he always does, but just had the rub of the green tonight compared to Harrison. So he's up into 12th. He's now got Guinness just in front of him. Know where I'd want to be. Guinness will carve his way through the order, and Simmons just should be able to just follow him through. But you can see the amount of amateur drivers you have between that 3rd to 9th. Expect the 2 pros at the front to pull away from the rest. That should just be a 2-horse race for the win from here on in. But behind that is anyone's game. I don't think there are any changes, but plenty of side by side. I think Tingy was trying to get past Ascher, maybe. Maybe that was just Ascher getting past up into 6th position. And there goes Guinness up the inside. It's going to be 3 wide here. There's nowhere for Simmons to go. And that was wise for him to get out of that one, because there was no way he wasn't going to be pushed into the wall. And Guinness, opportunistic driving, gets him past. There goes the Wild Animals cars on the inside. Simmons gets past, and now Guinness. And
Guinness and allowed him into the wall. And Gregory's up as well. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Ben Gregory, and now it was one of the HM Engineering cars. It is Kieran Harrison. Oh my word. This could be huge, and that is Harrison is nursing damage there. This could be absolutely disastrous for Kieran Harrison. It could be 2 no scores, and proper no scores, no drop score, of course. They are done. Oh my word. But coming back to Guinez just got pancaked into the wall by Zaitsev.
Can we get a replay of the Gregory versus Harrison match, because those two had already come together, I think, beforehand. So really, you're kicking off. Simmons up into 9th position. Then he's just got past Ward. He's just in a long old queue. So here it was. So it was 3 wide beforehand.
Ooh.
Oh, Kieran seemingly just moving across a little bit there. I don't know. It's tricky to see from that angle. And yeah, Gregory just kind of resting in the wall in the end. Harrison still continuing there. There goes Astra past Shirley. Could be in for a podium here. Good Astra with the problems for the drivers behind. Oh, he's driven it in too deep. They avoids the wall somehow, but they'll remain side by side here. Now turn on all the steering lock that you can. They actually managed to get through that much cleaner than most of the other drivers, and they'll remain side by side, moving on to lap 4 of the race.
Ooh, and who's going to flinch going down into turn 1? Will either of them flinch? We're about to find out. Martin Shirley versus Martin Ascher. Ooh, maybe they're debating going down the straight. What's the correct way to spell Martin at the moment? Well, it goes in the favour of the Dutch spelling, as Martin Ascher goes into turn 1 ahead. But this battle's far from done. And oh my goodness me, there's a big pile up there on the way through to the waterfall. Now, that was Svidovic in there as well. Guinez has finally come a cropper. His night appears to be over. And this has been a pretty bruising affair for HM Engineering.
Yeah, I'm being very demanding of our terrific broadcaster Sam Kuma at the moment, but I want to know what happened on that one as well. I'm curious about all these incidents. Yeah, so it was just going on ahead. Yeah, Guinez and one of the 3 Spires cars coming together, so HM Engineering and 3 Spires aren't getting on tonight. So, yeah, so Guinez had already got too much damage here, and that was Savidovic just about making his way through, and Guinez realises he's got damage, parks it up for the night.
I feel there's going to be some really flared tempers tonight. There's been some really aggressive incidents. You know, sometimes you get clumsy incidents and, you know, they can happen, or you just make a simple mistake, but there's been some properly salty incidents tonight.
Yeah, I think so. If anyone's managed to finish all 3 races tonight, that's good work. Woodhouse versus Fritsch. So, actually, Woodhouse just made this move then. Awesome work there from Mark Woodhouse. I believe he's just made that move. Yeah, overtook on that last lap. So, Woodhouse up into 3rd position. Probably the cleanest car of anyone out there at the moment. Also, Flatson just made a mistake on that last lap. So, the top 2 are very close to one another. But Flatson lost about 2.5 seconds on that last lap, and the gap is 3 seconds, so that's why the top 2 are a bit further separated now. So Flatson will have to work very hard to catch back up by the end of the race. I doubt he'll make it, but I don't know, maybe if he can recreate his lap 1 pace, his race 1 pace, maybe he might have a chance. Here is Simmons to the back of Glasgow, and this is for 7th position. Also Aschert getting past Fritsch, so Fritsch has quickly fallen off the back of Woodhouse there, and he now jots down another place, and actually Shirley not too far behind either.
Not far behind at all. George Simmons having a very strong evening, up to 7th place right now, and somehow managed to avoid a number of these incidents going on all up and down the circuit. We're about 1/3 distance. Norbert Leitner still leads from Terrier Flatten, both setting hot laps there, and then really, and as you rightly said, Sam, really in their own world, and Leitner maybe in his own world of his own. He's pulled out quite a gap already, as you can see on screen here right now. But Mark Woodhouse, the AM Championship leader coming into this meeting, getting his meeting right back on track by running in 3rd right now.
Yep, and Gregory's out of the race, of course, so it's kind of the same story as the last couple of meetings, isn't it? Gregory does well in race 1 or race 2, and Woodhouse does badly, and then by the end of the meeting, it kind of just evens it out again. But still, I think the gap might come down a little bit, although actually that's so many points for 3rd place for Woodhouse. Actually be able to extend his lead. Simmons has passed Shirley. surely is going to be come a cropper, I think, of Vogler and Smith behind as well. So I would not want to be in his shoes. Also, Tingy is trying to get this move done on Zaitsev. Zaitsev with damage. And is, in fact, apologies, that's Zaitsev trying to make the move, I believe. And there is another move as well for Shurikov to get past. Going to have to leave room here for Tingy. He's very slow on the inside there, and Marcel T will move through as well, and also Pershko and Perry as well. Some great drivers behind Tingy right now.
Yeah, Jack Tingy just plodding along as best he can at this point in time. Like, he looks to have a slightly slower lap there. Maybe had an incident on track 4 seconds back from the kind of pace of those around him. Now, Kieran Harrison is still out on the circuit. He's in 18th position. Now, has he been into the pits to repair the damage? I doubt it. Jack's just moved up to 17th, but his car is, if it has still got that same damage, it must be hanging together by a thread.
I'm confused by Harrison because apparently he's on the same lap as the leaders. I think we faced the same issue back at I'm very confused. I think we faced the same issue at in the Apex Racing League GT Championship where the laps weren't adding up around this place. I'm not quite sure. I think
he is. I just think he's limping along with the damage, and lots of others have gone out, I think, as well.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I was being silly. Yep. I was thinking it was still race 2. I was trying to delineate between the races. But yeah, you're right. He's just continuing out there. But yeah, with damage in 17th.
Time flies when you're having fun, Sam.
Exactly. I really am turning into another property of the series, aren't I?
Oh, God.
Mistakes.
Does that make me Martin Brundle? Do you know, I before you answer that and say no, I'm going to interrupt. I stayed in his stepmother's B&B in Norfolk, not far from Hunstanton.
Hunstanton's a very nice place.
It's a beautiful place, yes. Just down the road from there. She had a lovely old classic Rolls Royce. And when I arrived there, there was one of Martin's old racing helmets in the lobby. I was like, "Oh, who does that belong to?" She goes, "Oh, that's my son's."
This whole conversation has been leading up to you mentioning that anecdote, which I am very impressed with. To be fair, Milton Keynes well, I guess it wasn't Milton Keynes, but that's area. As Martin Brundle says, they build them strong there. Of course, where George Russell is from as well.
Well, but not really. To be fair, the Milton Keynes was only built in the 80s, so it's hard to tell if it's been built with strong stuff or not. I certainly hope so.
Yeah. Fritsch is going to be done here by Vogler, I think. 28-1 that last lap for Fritsch. I think this one will be a little bit sluggish as well. CHM Engineering car dips into the toe. So Vogler, after just trying to think, has Vogler had good results in every race so far? I think he has. I think he's had top 5s in both race 1 and race 2. He's up into 6th now in race 3. Scoring some good points for HM Engineering. Smith will be next. He's been very under the radar tonight after taking a pit lane start for race 1. Still Shirley doing well up in 9th place. Nothing really going on between the leaders, by the way. Leitner actually pulling away from Flatten. Leitner being fastest driver out on second for this entire race. He's been very quick out in the lead.
I tell you what, if you offered Fraser Smith a race 2 win after a race 1 pit start, I think he'd have ripped your hand off. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be fair to him, it wasn't from reverse grid pole, was it? I think it was from like 4th or 5th on the grid, I think.
Yes, he got a rocket start. Yes, absolutely. Yes, it was. So, no, it's been a good night for Fraser Smith. That is for sure. Trying to get past Marcel Fritsch at the moment. He's second in Am in 7th spot. Coming back to Milton Keynes, I tell you what, a night out in Milton Keynes is rather bizarre. It's kind of like going on a night out in an out-of-town retail park. It's very strange.
You say that as though you already had that comparison ready.
Yes.
As though you've experienced a retail park drunken nights out already.
No, but more imagination than anything else.
I've never tried it myself, but I've had that on the bucket list.
A night out in Milton Keynes, I wouldn't bother.
Smith is past. Why were you in Milton Keynes? Apologies. I mean, that's a long way away from where you live.
It is. I used to have a friend. It still is a friend, but he used to live there.
Aha.
So yes, we went. In fact, during the day, had far more fun during the day. They've got Rotax 2-stroke go-karts at Daytona Milton Keynes, and when I put my foot down going up the back straight in one of these things, I nearly cacked myself. They are fast.
Of course, this broadcast sponsored by Visit Milton Keynes and Milton Keynes Tourist Board. Do check
Come for the
them out.
go-karting, don't stay for the night out.
Yeah. Savinovic is going to be past. He's missing the front of his car. How is his pace? His pace is all right, Savinovic. I mean, it's not amazing, but I don't think that damage is costing him by more than half a second a lap. Oh, that was very close, and then he hits the wall as well on the inside, and that kind of scuppers his opportunities out of me. This broadcast is sponsored actually by Apex Racing Academy, to be fair, and of course Apex Racing Academy with 29 data sets or data packs, apologies, for road racing and also rallycross racing as well. For some of the best, you've got coaching from some of the best drivers in iRacing who design all the setups, who do the demonstration laps. There's really no one else better to learn from. So if you get yourself an Apex Racing Academy subscription, you can get access to all those 29 data packs, all different cars from single-seaters and touring cars like these. Get coaching from George Simmons. You can get yourself a one-on-one coaching session with him. So do check out apexracingac.com for more details. That is Tim Perry there in 18th place. Then we were briefly seeing Tingy just holding off Harrison as well. Harrison really struggling, of course, with the damage he picks up earlier on. Now Savinovic, he's got past one car, now he's setting his sights on Vasco.
I think for Kieran Harrison, yeah, he's been really unlucky, caught up in a couple of incidents, and yeah, he'll be happy, I think, with having had a big incident and incurring so much damage, just to be able to get it over the line and bag some points. He doesn't need anything too spectacular at this stage in the championship. He's got a strong lead, mind you. Simmons is doing absolutely everything he can to try and keep that ball rolling towards the end. And he'll get quite a boost of points if he finishes where he is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, could really be the turning point in the season. Still be about 100 points clear, I think, but just puts him in range, doesn't it? That'll be the gap pretty much halved just tonight. So with 2 meetings to go at Le Mans and Montreal of all places, really does open up the championship. And of course, Simmons never won this series before. Probably the best driver not to have won it, along with Jack Sedgwick. So will be good to see him challenge for it. Here is Simmons trying to get past Astrid. It's taking him a little while for this one, but Astrid pulled away by so much earlier on, because also just got past Woodhouse in the background. You can just see that in the foreground now. But Simmons has got time on this one. He's got 2 more laps to go in this race. So Smith also does get past Woodhouse. So Woodhouse still top of the ARMS, but down into 7th overall.
For Woodhouse now, he's just got to think with Gregory down the order. He's just got to think about getting it over the line now, get the points booked, and he will be in a really strong position heading into Le Mans next week. And actually, if you're leading the championship, Sam, you really want to get the points scored by the end of the Le Mans meeting, because Montreal's very like this place. Just wherever you are, there's a wall waiting to end your race at any moment. It's very narrow in places. And I tell you what, if I were the drivers, it's you want to get the points booked and make sure you've got a nice comfy margin for the final round at Montreal, because it will probably be a similar affair to this, I would imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, try to wrap it up 3 races before the end, but obviously it's tricky to do that. But you're right, you want that cushion, just to have that spare DNF going to the last meeting of the season. Don't know if there'll be any extreme tactics if we get to that point where Harrison starts from the pits and stuff, but yeah, not sure. I imagine he'll drive it fairly normally. Just yeah, hope for the best. Shurikov, I think, got past Zaitsev, did he? Yeah, so Shurikov got past Zaitsev. It was pretty entertaining as well between Shirley and Savidovic. In fact, I think maybe Glaskov, who got past Shirley. Savidovic has just got past Shirley as well. So it was very close between those guys at the hairpin on the last lap. Simmons still can't get past here. Astrid, I said he had lots of time. He only had like 2 laps to go. I don't really know why I said he had lots of time, because he's running out of time now. White flag's out, and he's not close enough for a move into turn 1.
No, but he's getting closer every time, is George Simmons, and there was a couple of little tips and taps there going through the hairpin, but Ashert does not blink. What's going on? But oh dear. Well, Fraser Smith. Oh no! Just outbreaks himself. He'll be raging with himself there. Such a good night, a win in race 2, and made a move on Bokler there, but just missed his braking point and no more.
Don't think he's got any steering damage, went into it square on. In fact, I don't think he'll get Fritsch. Oh, here we go. That's a mistake. Must have been a mistake from Astrid. Here comes Simmons diving down the inside, using the wide turn in. Oh, he's clipped the inside wall there, Simmons. He's clipped the inside wall, and he'll do well to not have any steering damage, but he's still pushing at 100%. He's got the outside line. He's risking it all for these extra couple of points, but Astrid is holding on strong.
Oh, and that inside wall, my goodness me, it bites. I remember 2 years ago in IMSA, John Bennett crashed his Nissan DPI there, just touched the wall, and it was a big one. It was a really car-breaking crash. Now, Martin Ashert a little bit slow through there as we see Norbert Leitner take the win, but I don't think he has. Yes, Simmons has made the move. It looked like Ashert was almost as if he was slow at serving. A slow-down penalty there, but had to give best there to George Simmons, and Simmons gets the podium from deep in the pack. Great stuff from the ART driver as the rest of a proper train of Audis come over the line here, led by Marcel Fritsch. Yeah,
so Fritsch beating Smith, of course, who had that issue, and Savidovic making some good progress near the end there, but he couldn't quite get Glaskov. It was, I think, getting a bit aggressive between those two at the last hairpin. You could have seen on their timing screen, they are switching positions about 10 times in 10 seconds. But it was Glaskov who held on for 9th position, and pretty good night actually for Wild Animals Wizards team, the Russian-based outfits. And also Harrison did manage to get to the finish, of course, in 16th place. He beat Tingy as well. Those two had a bit of an epic battle. But yeah, Harrison at least recovering some points in 16th place there.
Indeed, yes. So, what a drive from Norbert Leitner, the Hungarian. Gets a perfect start off the line and just controlled the race from there. And Terry Flatten really couldn't make a race 1 winner. Terry Flatten, don't forget, just couldn't quite get the gap down. 6.8 seconds in the end that Norbert Leitner beats Terry Flatten by, with George Simmons getting that last point in the podium at the very last moment from Martin Ashert. Roman Bokler was 5th, with Mark Woodhouse in 6th, our AM class winner. Marcel Fritsch 7th, Fraser Smith in 8th, Sergei Glaskov in 9th, and Wojciech Savidovic getting it over the line in 10th with a missing front bumper. Martin Shirley was 11th, followed by Igor Shirikov, Vasily Zaitsev, Marcel T, Roman Persk, and Kieran Harrison. Not a brilliant day for the championship leader and defending champion. Jack Tingy was 17th with Tim Perry behind him, followed by Toby Ward and Baron Glover, the last car on the lead lap. And the drivers who did not finish: Lars Wheeler, Kevin Marshallsay, Andrew Brema, Corentin Guinez, Ben Gregory, Oysten Hereford, and Arjan Bakker, rounding out our 27 car field. Well, conclusions from that, Sam?
Well, talking of conclusion, I'm trying to get the points ready at the moment, so I should be able to tell you the point situation in just a moment's time. But no, that was pretty crazy, wasn't it? Kind of what we were expecting. I was expecting it to be a little bit cleaner than that, honestly. But there was some good racing there. Some very good overtakes as well. Whenever you can go around the outside of another driver at at a street course, it always looks fairly spectacular. So no, it was good fun, and I think it sets us up for an exciting final couple of meetings of the season.
That it does, and we have our race 2 winner joining us in the commentary box right now, Fraser Smith for Full Send Racing. Fraser, welcome to the Apex Racing TV commentary box. This starting from pit lane, not such a bad idea after all.
I said to a couple of my teammates before the race that if there was 1 week where I wanted a pit lane start, it was probably here. So yeah, it worked out pretty well. I got my first win after starting in the pits, so maybe I should do it more often.
Quite possibly, yes, quite possibly. Of course, here at Long Beach, it can always be so much of a pile-up at the front. I mean, tell us about the win. How you take us through those opening laps, because you were out fun and clear. But tell us about how you made your way through in the opening laps.
Well, I managed to get a really good start. I think I went from 4th to 2nd by, and then I think I got the lead into turn 1 on the next lap and went from there. I didn't make it easy for myself. I think on lap 4 or 5, I went completely 100% and put it straight in the wall on the exit of turn 1, and had bent steering all race. I was just watching the gap come down and down and down, and basically just sending it, hoping they didn't catch me.
And heading into Le Mans next time, Fraser, it's quite a bizarre circuit for touring cars. What are your expectations for that round?
Well, can't say I've ever driven this car there, so who knows? I don't know how much draft. I'm pretty sure by the time everyone's hitting the limiter, there's not going to be much more you can do. So I expect a lot of sends into the braking zones.
Well, you are a full send racing driver, so that's going to suit you just fine, I think, Fraser.
When I sent it on Roman when I sent it on Roman in race 3, I did end up straight in the wall from hitting the ABS. So maybe I need to practice that.
That on camera. I'm sorry about that one, but anyway, you'll be remembered for a race win tonight at Long Beach. Well done, Fraser, and looking forward to seeing you out there.
Cheers. Speak to you soon.
So that was Full Send Racing's Fraser Smith join us in the commentary box, and Perry of Three Spires Boosted fame.
Yes, Tim joins us in the commentary box now. Congratulations, Tim. Particularly that race 1 tonight was very good. I believe you got you got in race 1. I mean, talk us through it from your perspective, because thinking back to it, I imagine you were just behind the carnage in turn 1 on that first race. But you managed to get through it all.
Yeah, it was quite crazy actually. Yeah, I mean, the start here always, it was kind of as expected, really, and I think it was just more luck than anything. I think actually, my good start kind of really helped things. So I managed to get me just in front of it. I think if I'd got a slightly worse start, I'd have been caught right up in it. So yeah, it was quite a high pressure race. I'd been right behind me the whole time. Obviously, I knew as a teammate he wouldn't absolutely launch it up the inside, but at the same time, I had to, make sure I nailed absolutely every corner.
Race 2, you retired from. You're going to have to forgive me for this one because so much happened. I can't exactly recall the incident you were involved in. I mean, talk us through it.
So that was the one in the last hairpin where the drivers tried to spin up the inside of me, and we ended up like all 4 of us all kind of spinning there, and then down the straight, Quarantine, I think, sent Asher into the side of me. I think Harrison hit me and a few other guys hit me, so that was a real big one, probably one of the biggest ones I've been in, to be honest.
Yes, now you talk about it, I remember it's very well a huge crash down the pit straight curve, whatever it is. Race 3, we didn't see a whole lot of you. I mean, you started in 20th place, you ended up 18th, but it must have been a bit quiet for you near the end.
Actually, quite quiet in this series. I mean, obviously I do the prototypes as well, and in comparison, it's just absolute chalk and cheese. In the prototypes, you kind of settle into your place, and that's kind of it, really. And that's kind of what it was like in that third race, whereas in the battered and bashed and gaining 5 places, losing 5 places, and it's absolutely mental. But that last race was actually quite a quiet one. I made one mistake into turn 1, which cost me a few places. But apart from that, I mean, all the pros were in front of me, and all the
you mentioned the prototype series on a Friday night. You're clearly more talented than me, because I would very much struggle to drive Audi RS3 one night and then the very next day jump into a high performance sports car. Is that a trouble for you into the prototype and straight away up to speed?
Well, the prototype's kind of my baby, really. So that's the one I really focus on, and that's the one I really practice with the most, I guess. Yeah, this is kind of, it started quite serious, but then I guess, like, as the series went on and the crashes piled up, I've treated it slightly more as a kind of just a fun thing to do on a Thursday, really. So, yeah, I mean, the thing to do on a Thursday, really. So, yeah, I mean, the prototype is my bread and butter, and I'm certainly much better in that than I am in a TCR. So, yeah, I think that's why I enjoy it more, to be honest.
And before we let you go, Tim, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just a big shout out to Ben and Toby, teammates this season. Always there to give me some like a helping hand, really. Obviously, when I started this season, I hadn't really driven the TCR much, and particularly in this league, so they were a great help, really, guiding me through who to watch out for, and who could be trusted, and various setup options and stuff like that, really. So big shout out to those two.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Tim, and we'll see you back tomorrow, I guess.
Yep, many thanks, Sam. I'll see you then.
Tim Perry there, finishing in 11th, 20th, and 18th positions tonight. But of course, yeah, getting that race 1 win in the amateur category in race 1.
Interesting. You made a great point there, Sam, about hopping between the LMP2 prototype and the TCR car. You could not get two more different beasts. And well, it's going to be a strange one for Tim next week at Le Mans. Used to driving his Le Mans prototype, which of course is completely at home at Le Circuit de la Sarthe, but with the touring cars, well, I think it's going to be more Talladega than anything else.
Yeah, that's they were literally racing last week at Le Mans as well in the prototype series, so yeah, that will be very different. I have updated the points, by the way, and I'm not 100% sure about this because with our scoring software, of course, you've got to make some rounds count, you've got to make some rounds not count, you've got to adjust the drop scores. But at the moment, as far as I am aware, we have got, in fact, I'll change the screen a little so it's a bit easier for myself. So I've got Harrison on so forget the 1000, so we've got Harrison on 725, Simmons on 661, and Savidovic on 582. So Savidovic moves up to 3rd place in the championship tonight. Moves down quite a few shuffles in there. So if Simmons could outscore Harrison by the same number of points as he did tonight, he would take the lead of the championship. So it's very much up for grabs, that one. And then in the amateur category, it's pretty much the same as it was before. Woodhouse on 1,359, Gregory on 1,267, so about 80 points there. And then actually Glasgow isn't too far behind, about another 40 points just behind. So maybe not getting too much close in the amateur category, but in the pro category, that lack of drop scores for these last 3 rounds have really tightened it up.
They certainly have. Yeah, that's Kieran Harrison, what seemed like a huge advantage. That is eroded quite a lot over this meeting at Long Beach. Well, all the more reason to tune in with us next Thursday at 7 p.m. GMT, the penultimate round of the season at Le Mans, round 15 of the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship. One not to be missed. And it'll be myself, Peter Mackay, and my broadcast colleague Sam Fitzpatrick bringing you all of the action. A big thank you for tuning in to this broadcast tonight on Apex Racing TV, and we'll see you next time.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. You can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.